I don't see how anyone could look at my life before my wife and say that now I'm missing anything.
Noah Brown, often called the mad genius of Alaskan Bush people, has lived a life filled with pain and struggle. While surviving off the grid, the most creative of the Brown siblings has endured challenges far greater than most people face in an entire lifetime. From losing loved ones to fighting silent emotional battles, his journey has been nothing short of heartbreaking.
Dude, you're doing nothing but lying.
I'm not lying about anything. I haven't said anything about anyone. I'm keeping the peace.
Dude, I
went out
keeping
on
the
my
peace.
own.
Stay with us as we reveal the tragic story of Noah Brown. Life off the grid. Born on July 18, 1992, right in the middle of Alaska's rugged and untamed wilderness, Noah Brown was surrounded by towering trees, icy winds, and a way of life that demanded both toughness and creativity. Growing up in the Brown family meant embracing independence, hard work, and unshakable family ties. But behind the beauty of the Alaskan wilderness, life was never easy. What might look like an adventurous dream to outsiders was, in reality, a constant test of survival. The Browns didn't just live in the wild, they had to fight for every meal and every moment of comfort. Hunting, fishing, and foraging were part of their daily routine. At the same time, they had to build shelters strong enough to survive snowstorms and freezing temperatures. Nothing came ready-made. Everything had to be crafted, built, or invented from scratch. It was in this demanding lifestyle that Noah discovered his true gift. Among all the Brown siblings, he quickly became known as the mad genius. While some people froze under pressure, Noah thrived. When the family faced a problem, he didn't complain. He got to work. If the Browns needed clean water, Noah built a system to get it. If they lacked tools, he found a way to make them using wood, metal scraps, or whatever nature provided. Viewers of Alaskan Bush People saw this firsthand. Noah was always tinkering with gadgets, experimenting with new ideas, and pushing the limits of what was possible off the grid. From homemade machines to practical tools, his mind never stopped working. What amazed fans most wasn't just his technical skill, it was his ability to turn the simplest materials into life-saving solutions. But life in the bush wasn't only about survival skills, it also tested emotions and relationships. Living so far from the outside world often meant dealing with deep loneliness. For the Browns, family was all they had. Their closeness was a source of strength, but it also brought tension. In the middle of freezing nights or exhausting days, arguments sometimes sparked. Like any family, they had highs and lows, but unlike most families, theirs played out under the shadow of survival. The Brown family has always stood by one powerful belief: togetherness. No matter what storms came their way, they built their lives around the idea that family comes first, and that they are stronger when they stand side by side. This bond has carried them through countless challenges. Harsh weather, financial struggles, and even personal disagreements have all tested their strength. Sometimes the conflicts are small, like a quick remark between siblings that stings more than intended. But other times, the tension rises into full-blown arguments, fiery debates about the family's future, and the path their business should take. Running a household in the wild is already a challenge, but managing a television show on top of that adds even more pressure. Each sibling has their own ideas, their own vision of how things should be done. Some believe money should be handled one way, others push for a different plan. These clashes create moments of real drama, but they also show something deeper. The Browns are human, just like the rest of us. Every family argues, every family disagrees, and yet, what sets the Browns apart is how they find a way back to each other. Fans are drawn to this raw, honest struggle. They see how the Browns fight, how they stumble, and yet how they always manage to return to the values that matter most: love, unity, and survival. Through it all, Noah remained calm, steady, and dependable. He was the problem solver when things went wrong, the one who stayed level-headed when the family was under pressure. Fans admired his resilience, his determination, and his ability to carry on even when life seemed overwhelming. In many ways, Noah Brown's journey represents the spirit of Alaska itself. His inventive genius and unbreakable willpower didn't just keep his family going, they inspired millions of viewers who tuned in to watch. Noah proved to the world that with enough creativity, courage, and determination, even the harshest wilderness could be conquered. He built, he invented, and he survived where many would have given up. But even for a man as strong as Noah, tragedy has a way of breaking down the spirit. Behind his quiet strength hides a story of pain and exhaustion. What really happened to Noah Brown? What heartbreaking tragedy forced his hand? Experiencing loss firsthand. The first real taste of loss for Noah Brown came with the passing of his father, Billy Brown. On February 7, 2021, Billy, the strong patriarch of the Brown family, suddenly suffered a seizure and died at the age of 68. For Noah, who was trying to build a steady home for his own young family, this was more than just the loss of a father. It was the loss of a guide, a mentor, and the man who had shaped much of his world. The Browns, known worldwide through their hit reality series Alaskan Bush People, had already faced countless struggles living off the grid. But this tragedy hit deeper than any storm, wildfire, or hunger they had ever battled. Losing Billy was a wound that time could never fully heal. To make things even harder, Billy's death came not long after another painful chapter in their lives. In 2020, wildfires tore through their Washington property, destroying much of what they had worked so hard to build after leaving Alaska. Just when the family thought they might rebuild, fate struck again, leaving them in shock and grief. Noah, like the rest of his siblings, had to carry the heavy weight of mourning while also being strong for his wife and child. It was a difficult balance, staying loyal to his growing family while honoring his place in the larger Brown clan. These struggles sometimes created friction within the family and even among fans of the show who followed their journey closely. The Browns had never been strangers to hardship. Years earlier, Noah's mother, Amy, was diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. At that time, it seemed as if they were about to lose her, too. The family uprooted their lives, leaving their beloved Alaskan homestead behind to move to Washington. There, Amy endured months of painful chemotherapy and radiation. By late 2018, against all odds, doctors declared her cancer-free. It was a moment of relief and joy that gave the Browns hope for the future. But just a few short years later, hope turned back into heartbreak. Billy, who had been the anchor of the family through every storm, was suddenly gone. The announcement of his death came from Bear Brown, one of Billy's sons, who shared the painful news online. Beside a photo of Billy and Amy, the family shared the heartbreaking news that their beloved patriarch, Billy Brown, had passed away the night before after suffering a seizure. For Noah, those words carried a heavy truth. His father wasn't just the leader of the family. He was the man Noah had looked up to since childhood. The Brown family had weathered many storms, from cancer scares to devastating wildfires, and even legal troubles in 2016, when Billy and Noah's brother, Bam Bam, faced charges tied to Alaska's Permanent Fund program. But none of those trials could compare to the heartbreak of losing their leader, Billy. Through all the pain and heartbreak, the Browns refused to stop moving forward. But for Noah, his father's death changed everything. It pushed him to guard his own family, to keep building, and to live by the lessons his dad had left behind. Yet in doing so, he found himself pulled further from his siblings. The whispers of tension weren't just rumors, there was truth behind them. Something was quietly unfolding between Noah and one of his brothers or sisters, an unspoken feud that left fans asking the same question. Who was at the heart of it all, and what had truly torn them apart? The fight with rain. When fans first met the Brown family on Alaskan Bush People, they seemed like an unshakable unit. Living off the land, building homes with their bare hands, and surviving Alaska's harsh wilderness, they often reminded viewers that family came before everything. But behind the scenes, not all bonds were as strong as they looked on TV. At the heart of the recent storm is the relationship between Noah Brown and his youngest sister, Rain. Their story, once filled with shared struggles and sibling closeness, has turned into one of the most shocking family rifts the Browns have ever faced. Rain Brown wasn't just the baby of the family. She was often its spark. From the earliest seasons, she stood out for her energy, positivity, and determination. Viewers watched her grow from a teenager into a young woman, taking on responsibilities far beyond her years. To many fans, Rain symbolized hope, the reminder that even in the hardest times, the Browns had a future. She carried her father's lessons about resilience and independence, while also adding her own personality and flair. But growing up on national television came with its own pressures, and Rain's journey into adulthood was far from easy. For years, Noah's path was different from Rain's. While she was building her identity within the family, Noah was focused on carving out his own life with his wife, Rain. That independence often created a gap between him and some of his siblings. The situation only grew more complicated when Noah's wife, Rain, didn't get along with his sisters, especially Rain. The name similarity didn't help either. Rain and Rain. What could have been a light-hearted coincidence became another point of tension. Slowly, Noah's loyalty seemed torn between his new family and his old one, and the cracks began to show. The drama exploded in December 2024, when Noah and Rain filed for a protection order against his youngest sister. The couple accused Rain of harassment, stalking, and even threatening violence. In their court filings, Noah and Rain painted a frightening picture. They claimed Rain had made threats involving firearms, owned several weapons, and had lashed out during family disputes. Noah even alleged that during one heated moment, she told him life would be easier if he were dead, and mentioned she had a gun nearby. Another accusation described an incident during a horse transport, where Noah said Rain became so angry that she threatened to kill the horse herself, rather than accept his help. That horse later died, a detail that added more weight to the already heavy claims. Noah also accused Rain of using substances and even alleged she once offered some to their mother during a visit. These shocking statements were laid out in sworn documents, making the feud not just emotional but deeply public. Despite the alarming accusations, the court did not grant the restraining order. The petition was denied because the evidence was considered weak and the paperwork incomplete. Some of the declarations weren't properly written, and some incidents were deemed too old to justify an immediate order. For Noah and Rain, this was a blow. They had asked for Rain to surrender her firearms, stay away from them and their children, and avoid posting anything negative online. Instead, the judge decided there wasn't enough to move forward. And Rain? She didn't stay silent. Just days after the filings, she took to Instagram with cryptic but powerful messages. She questioned why the world celebrated being fake instead of being real, and she reminded her followers that she was tired of pretending to be the perfect woman. Her words showed defiance and independence. To her fans, this was Rain standing tall against criticism and pressure. But to those aware of the restraining order, it also sounded like a direct clapback at her brother and sister-in-law. Beyond the feud, Rain continued to share her life online. She created a new Instagram account after claiming too many imposters were pretending to be her. On this page, she opened up about mental health, admitting her own struggles and encouraging followers to seek help before making dangerous choices. She reminded everyone that their mental health is just as important, urging people not to be afraid to ask for help. Along with her message, she shared crisis hotline numbers, proving that even in the middle of her own family struggles, she still wanted to use her voice to lift up and support others. The feud between Noah and Rain is one of the darkest chapters in the Brown family story. From shared childhood memories in Alaska to accusations of threats, substances, and violence, their relationship has reached a point many fans never expected. For Noah, his duty as a husband and father seems to have pulled him away from his younger sister. For Rain, the accusations have likely left scars that go beyond what viewers see on television. Whether time will ever heal these wounds, or whether the divide will only grow darker, no one can say. What once looked like an unbreakable family, the Browns, admired for their unity and survival, has now become a house divided. But out of all the conflicts, one split left fans stunned. The very person Noah fought hardest to protect was the one who walked away from him. The separation of Noah Brown and Rain. Noah Brown was known for his rare talent, the gift of creating something useful out of nothing. But beyond his skills as an inventor, he was also just a man with very human dreams. He wanted love, stability, and a family of his own. For a time, it looked like he had found all of that with Rain Alicia. Their romance began in a sweet, almost old-fashioned way. Before they even met face-to-face, Noah wrote her heartfelt letters, pouring his emotions onto paper. Those words touched her deeply and eventually inspired her to travel all the way to Alaska to meet him. When they finally saw each other, their bond grew quickly and naturally. By 2018, their journey of love brought them to the altar. With only 25 close friends and family present, they shared their vows in a small, heartfelt ceremony. That day, Noah's joy was impossible to miss. Filled with pride and hope, he spoke about how thrilled he was to begin a new chapter as husband and wife, and how much he looked forward to creating lasting memories as their own little family. And they did just that. Soon after, Noah and Rain welcomed 2 sons, Eli and Adam. Noah embraced fatherhood with pride, determined to give his children the kind of security and love his own parents had shown him. Balancing the demands of television while trying to protect his young family wasn't easy, but Noah was eager to prove that he was more than just the family's inventor. Still, life wasn't without problems. Rain struggled to find her place within the tight-knit Brown family. Some of Noah's sisters, particularly Rain and Bird, never fully warmed up to her. Noah tried to bridge the gap. He even made Bird the godmother of his son Eli, hoping it would bring everyone closer. But despite his efforts, the tension remained. In 2019, Noah and Rain decided to step back from the constant stress. They moved to Colorado for a time, hoping to find peace away from family drama and the pressures of filming. But, as with many marriages, challenges continued to follow them. Then came the shocking announcement in January 2025. Fans were stunned when Noah and Rain appeared together on social media to reveal that, after 6 years of marriage, they were separating. Sitting side by side, they shared the news calmly, but with visible heaviness. Noah explained they were going to take a break for a while, and they were no longer together. Though their words were polite, their expressions told a deeper story. Noah admitted he had been asked to move into the guest cabin. He still saw his children, but only under certain boundaries. Rain then spoke openly. She made it clear this was not about anger or bitterness, but about space. "Absence can make the heart grow fonder," she said, remembering past times when distance had helped their relationship. She stressed that they wanted the separation to be peaceful, and they were working through it together still. Rain also revealed that the space was already making a difference. She said Noah seemed healthier, having his own time and schedule, without her stress adding to his shoulders. She admitted she felt lighter too. Throughout the conversation, Noah grew quieter, letting Rain take the lead in explaining their situation. Before ending the video, Noah promised fans he would try to keep them updated, though Rain said she wouldn't be sharing more herself. For fans of Alaskan Bush People, the news felt like the end of what once seemed like a fairy tale love story. But just when it seemed Noah had already faced enough challenges, life tested him again with something he barely survived: the accident that almost claimed his son. For Noah Brown, life has always been a fight for survival, but nothing compared to the day his young son, Elijah, nearly lost his life. Just weeks before Noah's separation from Rain, tragedy struck. Elijah was rushed to the ICU with dangerous brain swelling after a terrible accident. For Noah, watching his child battle for every breath was more painful than any hardship he had faced in the wild. By a miracle, Elijah pulled through and now lives happily with Noah. But the scars of that near loss will stay with him forever. As if that wasn't enough, Noah himself faced back-to-back injuries in 2025, a car accident that broke his leg, and a concussion that left him with lasting headaches. In the end, Noah Brown's story isn't just about tools, inventions, or survival in the wild. His real legacy is the strength he showed when life nearly broke him. From heartbreak to close calls with death, Noah has faced storms most people couldn't imagine. But what do you think was his hardest battle? Was it the wilderness or the struggles within his own family? And how did he still rise, scarred but unbroken? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think.